Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Staying with our projects today, our Show Your Trailer Some Love Day. We're out here with our 255 FSH trailer. The boat's in the water. We're going to film some this afternoon, and we are going to be putting on our winch stand boarding kit. To do this, you need a couple of things. First off, the actual kit from JetBoatPilot. It's going to come with the step, really nice black powder coated. It's got this beautiful FSH logo engraved in marine mats, so nice non-skid material. You're also going to get some additional hardware, some additional steps, pads, additional components you see here. You'll see how these work in just a moment. I'm going to recommend that you have some tape of some sort to mark off where this winch stand actually is located now so it doesn't move on you during the installation procedure. You're going to need a couple of socket wrenches, 3/4 inch, both of them are 3/4 inch. And finally, you're going to need yourself a cordless drill with a Phillips, preferably a larger Phillips if you got it. All right, well, let's just jump right into this thing here. I'll show you the first steps. First thing we're going to want to do is put our tape in place. We don't want this thing moving on us because once you loosen some of these bolts, it is going to want to slide down. So that's going to be my line. If it drops down, I can just bring it right back up to that. All right, next, I already pre-loosened these bolts ahead of time. I'm going to take these two front bolts out. Both of these are 3/4 inch. We'll set these aside. We will not reuse these. The kit comes with replacement bolts. All right, so now that I've got the main bolts out, what I've done is I've gone back, I've tightened this back bolt here so that it's kind of pinching now. It's not wanting to slide down on me. And notice I also took this little end piece here with the rollers on it. I kind of tucked it under so it's supporting the weight a little bit. So now I think I can get this thing on without having to have a second set of hands. We'll take the factory or the new bolts that came with the kit. We're going to pass this through. If you feel like you can't get it started, just a little bit of up force help you pass it through. There we go. All right, now we're going to take the second one, lift this up, pass that through, grab our nuts. Be careful with these bolts, make sure you don't drop them on the ground. You could possibly damage the threads. That would make this process a lot more difficult if you get these threads all buggered up. All right, now before we tighten anything down, look at the tape line. See how it's moved just a little bit? I'm going to adjust this up just slightly. All right, we've adjusted it back up. It's now aligned with the line. I'm going to tighten. Be careful not to scratch your powder coat here. All right, first step is complete. We've checked it, super tight. All three bolt assemblies are securely in place. You can go ahead and remove your tape. Move on to the next step. In your kit, you're going to get three pieces that look like this. Notice how there's a machine side, and then there's also a textured side. Just make sure that those are facing one another. Your notches are going to be found inside these little notches here. We'll actually be driving screws into those notches in just a little bit here. That's kind of an indication of where those screws go. Next thing we'll do, we'll take off this rubber cap here. These three will slide down inside. That makes basically the platform for the step to be mounted to. We have our step. And just in case you're looking for it, what we do is include instructions with the kit. So now that you've got these top components in place, we're going to take our step. You notice it's got a pocketed side. Take that pocketed side, it's going to be facing down. It's going to basically sit on top of those three pieces there. It just kind of gives you a guide. All right, now that it's in place, we're going to take our 3/16 drill bit. We're going to just go down inside here and make yourself a little score mark. The goal here is to make marks so we can take this off and drill some holes. All right, so now we've got our 4 holes indexed. I didn't mention this earlier, you do need this 3/16 bit. Something I noted on this install that was giving me trouble, the holes on this step part were basically 1/4 inch in diameter, and they were giving me some trouble when I was trying to install with the screws provided. So I'm going to enlarge these holes a little bit. This will just make those screws want to pass through a lot easier. It's going to make this install a lot easier for you. All right. You may not have to do this, but on this one I had to do this because the holes were a little small. Another pointer, when you're installing these supplied screws, it's got a very large Phillips head tip. So what I would do is I would make sure you've got a larger number 3 style Phillips. There's always, most toolkits have a number 1, number 2, number 3. The number 3 is the larger, like that. That way you don't run the risk of stripping the screw out. All right, we're gonna align our step back in place, grab our screws. All right, our last step, we're going to install this screw here into the face. There's 2 holes, and what this does is this causes these 3 components to flare, which locks it in place and keeps it from sliding out. All right, so now everything's installed. It's not going to come out. Next step, make sure this is nice and flat. No raised edges. We're going to get a cloth and some, either some alcohol or some acetone or even some Windex. Anything that's got like ammonia in it, just help you clean this off before we stick our pad on. Next, you've got your pad. Just pull back one of the edges. Fold it over like that. Find your position. Once you feel like you've got it in place, take the front edge. Make sure you get it just where you want it. Once you get that front edge stuck, press that down firmly. Pull the paper out. Just kind of stroke it like this. I want to make sure that we squeegee the air out of it. So the last step here, we're going to have some pads that are going to stick right on the top of the neck here, like this. But before we do this, I want to pull these stickers off. This little pad here, kind of self-explanatory. It fits right in this little zone here. Just locate where it goes, kind of eyeballing it there. Once you're kind of happy with the placement, stick that first part, reach under, pull the paper out, stick it down. All right, pads are installed, step is installed, top step is installed, everything's tight. Do a tool check and a bolt check. Make sure you got all your tools that you brought with you. All right, well that's our winch stand boarding kit for the 255 FSH. Now you're gonna be able to get on and off your boat from the bow without having to walk around to the back or precariously kind of step over top of this winch here, so it's a big help. We appreciate you watching this video today. If it was helpful to you, we really appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe button below. It really helps what we do. And if you really like this video, check this one out.